All the bulls and bear markets are different always. They're never exactly the same. But yeah, I think we go up. The bull run isn't finished yet. And I will go beyond the 100K level towards 200, 300. In last bull markets, the Bitcoin price went up 2x or 3x or sometimes even more above the stock to flow levels. So yeah, we could see 300K Bitcoin. That would not surprise me. But after the next all-time high, fear will kick in and we will see lower Bitcoin price. And I guess that will lead to, there will be a trigger that triggers that fear and that downward movement, and that could be a government thing. It's mostly a government thing. It could be anything, but yeah, but it could also be just a very short bear market this time, only half a year or 1 year. It doesn't have to be multiple year, but yeah, it could be 2022 is a bull year. 2023 is a bear market. 2024 we'll stay in the bear market, and 2025 will go up again. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happening like that. That's how I long term would see Bitcoin. It always goes up, and there's a lot of volatility above that 200-week moving average, which you should ignore, and it goes up. In the long term, it all goes up. But it already did that, right? Last 10 years, and I think next 10 years, yeah, could be like that. Not necessarily an acceleration of that 200-week moving average, which would be the case if there were a super cycle.
People are really scared, which typically is the time to it's an opportunity to buy, and you don't often get this kind of pullback without it relief bouncing even. Structurally it's very, very strong, and demand started to come back in. The hodlers that were slightly being dispirited by the futures traders selling down have stopped selling. They're rebounding now, and there's accumulation coming. I have a lot of people that ask me, what's my plan for the top of the bull market? Because they're used to nuclear winters, right? 4-year cycles. And my plan is always an operation, which is to take money to cash consistently. So because I don't believe in bull, bear, 4-year cycles and nuclear winters. I think we're just doing more of the same. This is the second time we've gone up and we've retraced more than 50%, and then we're going up, and they're just choppy times. And so you don't want to be overexposed. You don't want to be all in. You don't want to be all in and then on leverage, because when it pulls back 50%, you're going to be freaking out.
First of all, I'd say you can't be an investor without understanding and having a macroeconomic outlook and a microeconomic outlook. I'm not a trader, and so my short time horizon is 4 years. During 5 years, I'll take that kind of risk. And my normal time horizon is a decade for a forecast, and the ideal time horizon is forever. The way Bitcoin trades oftentimes is it trades like with the derivative, the acceleration or the jerk or something of the money supply. When the Fed says, well, I guess there is inflation, we've got big inflation, but we recognize it's a problem. The fast money says, well, they recognize it's a problem, so it trades against Bitcoin. The Fed's going to treat the problem. And you're in that dynamic. And then I think eventually over time, the longer term investors come in and they start to drive it the other direction. If everybody in the world today universally agrees we have an inflation problem, the question you got to ask yourself is, if the Fed raises short-term rates to 1% or 2%, and they've agreed there's a 7% CPI, and if you can establish a 15 to 20% monetary inflation rate, what's the likelihood that inflation's going away?
I still think higher. I still think we actually got a strong run to come. I think this kind of year-long sideways correction that we've essentially had is just a springing board to further gains as more adoption rolls out, more use cases roll out, etc. So ETH has that balance of being more risky than Bitcoin because it's less decentralized, as we talked about before, less pure, but it still has the massive network adoption that we're looking for, which is the thing that drives prices. And ETH won't remain the greatest trade forever. Don't forget, I bought ETH at, I don't remember what price. It was a long way ago and a lot lower. So, that's proven itself out. It did 500% last year or 480%. So, you don't have to reprove the trade every year now from my entry price. Will I trade out of ETH into something else? For sure. When? No idea. Or will I just add other tokens, protocols, opportunities, and just keep my ETH holding? I really don't know. I keep it fluid. Unless I see something that fundamentally seems wrong. Maybe the sharding on ETH allows for breakages that we didn't perceive, and it becomes more difficult to use when you go to ETH 2.0 and it takes a while to get it right. Well, maybe things move to other chains for a while, and that's fine too. So it's not a crusade for me. It's a opportunistic investment. I think it's a long-term investment. I don't really think, and I've already been in the trade for well over a year, am I likely to be in the trade for the next 3 years? Most likely. Could I sell out of half of it if ETH's trading at 20k? For sure.